Arcing into the Atlantic and then doubling back to the mainland, the Outer Banks are renowned for their isolated beaches, plentiful seafood, and a seemingly endless ocean of vacation rentals. But a visit reveals campgrounds, gardens, lighthouses, and aviation are big deals here too, expanding the options for fun in this coastal paradise. The Outer Banks are a chain of barrier islands lying in far east North Carolina, about 3 hours east of Raleigh and less than an hour and a half southeast of Norfolk, Virginia. US 158 is the main artery to the northern part of the Outer Banks. It's one of only 2 highways connecting mainland North Carolina to the islands. We'll ride the full 120 miles of the Outer Banks, and to do that, a left turn leads north on State Highway 12. Passing through the upscale resort town of Duck, it's about 20 miles to Corolla and the drive's first highlight, the 162-foot-tall Currituck Beach Lighthouse, one of 5 majestic beacons on this road trip. Built in 1875 of a million bricks with 220 steps, you can climb to the top, weather permitting, from mid-March through December. Continuing a mile and a half north on Highway 12 past Corolla, pavement ends at Sand. However, with 4-wheel drive, you can still navigate the beach north to the Virginia state line. Having reached the northern limits of the Outer Banks, our journey heads south. Returning back where Highway 12 splits from US 158, the road enters Kitty Hawk, synonymous with the birth of aviation. But if you're looking for the Wright brothers, you won't find them here. Follow Highway 12 another 4 miles south to Kill Devil Hills and the Wright Brothers National Memorial. Airport security, cranky passengers, delayed flights, they all got their start here. In a time when air travel is taken for granted, this memorial commemorates how 2 Ohio brothers broke humanity's connection with Earth. Atop Kill Devil Hill, the highest point in the Outer Banks, sits a 60-foot-tall memorial. In the early 1900s, older brother Wilbur and younger brother Orville made hundreds of manned glider flights from this sand dune as they perfected their invention and piloting skills. In the distance lies the Visitor Center, and more significantly, the path of the world's first successful motor-driven flights. Dressed in suits, on December 17, 1903, Orville piloted the first engine-powered flight, with Wilbur running alongside, which traveled 120 feet. The second flight went 175 feet, and the third 200 feet. Wilbur piloted the fourth flight of the day, which flew 852 feet and lasted 59 seconds. Now, Kitty Hawk is famous because at the time, it was the nearest town, and it was also where the brothers first tested their gliders before moving to Kill Devil Hill. And Kitty Hawk is also where the telegraph office was, announcing the first flight to a global audience. Soon, aircraft would be traversing the planet, and another American would step foot on the moon just 66 years later. A short drive from Wright Brothers National Memorial is Jockey's Ridge, North Carolina's most visited state park. Take off your shoes and slather on the sunscreen for a quick hike to North Carolina's biggest sand dune, a prime hang gliding area. On this breezy day, it's easy to understand how the winds around here helped launch aviation. Amid the nonstop commercialism in this part of the Outer Banks, there are some unique dining ideas. Stack 'em High Pancakes is locally owned and known for big breakfasts. US 64 is the other main highway to the Outer Banks. Follow it a few miles west to Roanoke Island and O'Neill's Sea Harvest, one of many fish markets throughout the area where you can buy the day's fresh catch and prepare as you like back at camp. Roanoke Island is one of the most historic places in, well, the New World. In 1584, colonists landed here, founding England's first settlement in the Western Hemisphere. But Fort Raleigh didn't last long. 6 years later, the colonists vanished. Disease? Violent attack? No one knows. In 1951, the Garden Club of North Carolina, a nonprofit organization with 17,000 women members, built a botanical garden as a living memorial to Fort Raleigh and the lost colonists. In spring, the Elizabethan gardens feature southern favorites such as azaleas and camellias, along with plenty of statues. There's the garden's namesake, an imposing Queen Elizabeth I, ruler of England when Fort Raleigh was founded. And Virginia Dare, thought to be the first child of English descent born in the New World. What happened to her and the rest of the colonists remains one of the great mysteries of colonial times. The nearby town of Manteo has a quaint downtown, and the Elizabeth II anchored in its harbor, a replica of vessels that brought the colonists to Roanoke Island. The ship can be toured mid-March through December. The waterfront is also home to Roanoke Marshes, our road trip's second lighthouse. Called a screw pile lighthouse and dating back to the 1800s, a dozen of these short, squat beauties once graced North Carolina's rivers and sounds. By now, it's definitely beach time, and a 10-minute drive on US 64 leads back to Highway 12. On the south side of Nags Head, the Outer Banks Fishing Pier is one of several scenic jetties built along the coastline. Gulf Stream currents moderate temperatures here, meaning it's relatively mild year-round. However, while the ocean is warm as bathwater in summer and early fall, it can be shockingly icy in winter and spring. Next, we head farther south as this beautiful byway gets more isolated and the beach is more deserted. Plus, a ferry ride leads to the most charming town in the Outer Banks when our road trip continues in Part 2.